The story begins on a deserted small island where some mafia members have hidden their drugs. However, the police get wind of this location and are about to raid the island when the island's inhabitants also learn about the impending raid. To evade the police, they dump all the drugs they have manufactured into the river. As the drugs flow into the river, all the dangerous crocodiles in the island and river mutate into monsters. And from that day onwards, doomsday begins on this place called Bayou. Day by day, they start preying on people in large numbers. They commence preying on humans. Indeed, in order to hunt humans, they commence venturing far from the river, thereby escalating the peril in the neighboring regions. Next, crocodile is deemed the most perilous, distinguished by a scar, and is regarded as their leader. Conversely, we observe the film's central character, Gail, attending a biology class where the instructor is educating them about crocodiles. What are their behavioral patterns, what are their hunting techniques, and how might one evade them? We discover that her brother has sadly passed away, who was her sole pillar of support throughout her life, and as a result of this, she was utterly heartbroken. Her brother's final wish was for his ashes to be scattered in the river of an island, which she discusses with her friend, and they make the decision to travel to Bayou. This is the very same perilous island where the crocodiles have transformed into monstrous creatures. Friend decides to bring along 2 additional friends, which makes Kyle somewhat uneasy. Their journey commences. As they progress halfway towards the island, their company notifies them that they will be necessitated to take a private aircraft to advance with their expedition. Is in the process of procuring water. We observe a newspaper that distinctly indicates the crocodile menace has not yet subsided. An elderly gentleman, chuckling with a dark mark on his visage, warns Carl to remain vigilant, but she doesn't pay it much heed. They arrive at the private airfield where the pilot had earlier briefed them. In a complication with the aeroplane, but I am confident it will transport us on our journey safely. During the expedition, the businessman was continuously talking on the phone. Despite everyone advising him against it, he was putting everyone's lives at risk. An elderly man tried to snatch the phone from him. And just then, the plane experienced a severe jolt. Emergency alarms started ringing, alerting everyone that the plane was malfunctioning. Before they could do anything, the plane crashed, falling into the river, and everyone ended up in the water. Fortunately, apart from one elderly man, everyone survived. They found themselves on an island, but they had no idea which island it was. One girl was severely injured with her arm. The pilot applies a bandage and then notices that his co-pilot hasn't surfaced from the water yet. They start searching for him here and there, and then the pilot sees that the co-pilot is still in the water and unable to get out. Now to rescue him, the pilot immediately jumps into the water, and just as he reaches his co-pilot, a crocodile appears from behind, opens its huge mouth and swallows the co-pilot's entire body in one go. The pilot quickly returns to the island to save his own life, and everyone is left in shock as they have just witnessed a human being hunted for the first time. First time seeing a human hunted. It was undoubtedly an extremely distressing experience for all involved. While everyone was feeling anxious, a friend ventured off to explore the island and discovered crocodile eggs there. She was aware that the eggs of the island's crocodiles were highly valuable, so she chose to conceal them in her bag. At this point, the injured and everyone else were terrified. As a result of the incident, the pilot informed them that the crocodiles on this island had become increasingly aggressive over the years. Though in the past, the crocodiles only emerged when they were hungry, but now, as soon as they detect their prey, they come out and kill them. Kahe, who was a biologist, knew a bit about how to handle such situations. Therefore, everyone accepted her as their group leader, and Kahe told them that they must reach a safe place before it gets dark, otherwise the crocodiles would not leave them alive in the darkness. Everyone agreed with the injured person's suggestion, except for one girl who didn't like Kahe becoming the group leader and wanted everyone to listen to her instead. As they continue on their way, they feel relieved, but the danger increases. The guidelines suggest everyone should stop and make noise, so most animals will be scared away by the fire. They also decide that everyone will take turns keeping watch for an hour each, to ensure everyone's safety and allow them to rest. In the middle of the night, it's the turn of the businessman, who is more concerned about his financial losses than his own life. He wants to make a call to get an update on his business deal. As he searches for a signal, he moves forward into the bushes where a crocodile was already lying in wait. The crocodile opens its enormous mouth and takes a significant portion of him inside, resulting in an excruciatingly painful demise. Tumpaske is action. In the morning light, they discover his lifeless body and express profound regret. Surprisingly, the crocodile had not consumed him, even though crocodiles typically devour humans. They deduce that, driven by some peculiar obsession, these crocodiles are solely intent on killing them. Their hunger is satisfied. They do not wish to eat them. Kyle notices a cabin not too far away and proposes that everyone head there to escape the dangerous animal sight for a while and to formulate a plan for what to do next. On the 20th, as they were moving along, they got very close to that type, but suddenly, a sight stopped them from advancing because they saw 3 crocodiles waiting for them. Carl told everyone to slowly back away. However, the girl who did not consider Carl her leader did not heed his advice. She did not retreat, and the smuggler fish attacked her. She was killed, and the remaining crocodiles went after the others. Those trying to save their lives headed towards the cabin because it was the closest and safest place for them, but the crocodiles continued to pursue them and they grabbed the injured girl. They grabbed hold of her, who had been quite injured during the plane crash. So people, in an attempt to save her, somehow managed to pull her leg and collectively exerted all their strength to shut the cabin door. The eyes of all the crocodiles were bloodshot. They tried to get into the cabin, but the people kept the door shut with all their might. This injured girl needed urgent treatment because if she didn't receive it, she could die soon. However, venturing out before dawn was foolish, akin to inviting death upon themselves. Now, they all waited for morning, and when it dawned, a boy approached the injured person. He found a map in this cabin. He knew how to read the map, and he mentioned that according to this map, there was a well nearby. There is a structure. If it is marked on the map, there must be something there to summon assistance. Does everyone concur? We shall proceed to that structure. However, one of Carl's companions remarks, I refuse to heed Carl. She has been made leader without justification. Her brother perished due to her actions. How will she ensure your safety? Carl was devastated, but the co-pilot reprimanded the girl. So, what is our course of action? At the very least, attempt to rescue ourselves or merely remain inactive and welcome death. It is preferable that we venture outside. Tried to remain calm, but Kyle no longer had the courage. The pilot then asked everyone to vote on how many people want to go outside and try to survive, and how many want to stay here and die of hunger and thirst. More votes come in favor of the injured, so they set off for the building, and the girl reluctantly has to go with the group. Before leaving, Guy told everyone how to avoid the crocodiles. She says that if a crocodile attacks them, they should not pull their body parts away, but rather try to put something in the crocodile's mouth to cause discomfort and make it open its mouth. And do keep one thing in mind, even if they attack, try to stay above the water and make every effort to save yourself from above. If the crocodiles take you underwater, your survival is nearly impossible. They are making some weapons for themselves and then leave to go to that building. According to Akshay, as they proceed, they reach a place where they need to cross a river to continue. However, within the river, there are many obstacles. Now, Kyle and the group decide that they will make a raft on which they can sit and easily cross the river while avoiding the crocodiles. People ask why they would need a raft. Kyle explains that crocodiles attack in cold weather, but at this time the island is so hot that they would be in the lower parts of the river to cool themselves. While they were making the raft, one of the injured person's friends sees a crocodile approaching them. She uses her weapon to hit the crocodile, which angers many more crocodiles to come there. It was indeed a completely wrong assumption because these crocodiles were behaving very differently from all the other crocodiles there. Before the crocodiles could attack them, everyone quickly tried to sit on the raft and escape from there. Crocodiles had now entered the river to attack them, and they knew that the young crocodiles had enough strength to easily overturn the raft. This way, everyone would have met their end here. Everyone was trying to move the raft forward quickly, but the raft was very heavy. It felt like death was near, and just then, the girl who was badly injured sacrificed herself to save everyone. She decides. She looks at everyone one last time, glances at her husband, and then, without hesitation, jumps into the river. Her husband is devastated seeing her. He was about to jump in after her, but the pilot stops him. The crocodiles drag her into the water, allowing them to cross safely. Now, only 5 people remain. As they enter a building, the pilot realizes it belongs to a drug mafia. Bullets and drugs are scattered everywhere. This was the same building shown at the start of the movie where drugs were dumped into the water. Was this the place where drugs were dumped into the water, causing the drug issue? Indeed, she had transformed into a monstrous crocodile creature. Even if the drugs were pardoned here, their lives would have been at risk regardless. Highlight urges them to return from the brink of death, but the girl who had no fondness for the pilot or the vehicle whatsoever proceeds without heeding their advice. They organize themselves into pairs and advance, attempting to locate a device within the building that could summon assistance. The pilot, along with another companion of Carl's, was present as well. They both trail the girl who is dismissing every choice they proposed. Companion to Kowe to Bram TT venture inside to investigate, and he responds affirmatively, indicating his willingness. In truth, he desired to converse with this girl, expressing how self-centered she is, pointing out that she disregards others and asserting that individuals like her ought to be the first to perish. With these words, the pilot shoves her off the edge. She grasps onto the stairs in an attempt to preserve her life and starts pleading with the pilot for mercy and for her survival. The pilot starts to comprehend his error. Just before he can settle down to rescue her, a crocodile emerges, assaults the pilot, and pulls him away. Witnessing all this, the girl was utterly shattered and screamed loudly, which caused everyone else to gather there. They helped the girl down, and the boy explained how the crocodile attacked the pilot and took him away. This incident broke her from within. Henrique was also shattered, so she apologized to all the members and to those who were injured because she had maintained a bad attitude with everyone, even during such a difficult time. They realized that the building they were in at that moment had more crocodiles than the river, as they had come to take the drugs being produced there because the crocodiles had become somewhat addicted to them. They had somehow developed an addiction to these substances. Observing such a large number of crocodiles intensified their fear. Demand. Beyond the crocodiles, there was a chamber where they could spot a radio. It was imperative for them to reach that chamber without creating any noise or disturbance. For the time being, these creatures were in a state of slumber. All of them began to advance cautiously and silently. However, the final boy, who had uncovered the true purpose of this building, inadvertently makes a slight noise. His foot comes down upon a crocodile egg, placing his life in jeopardy. The crocodiles then launch a relentless attack on him. They proceed to eliminate the threat, and the 4 individuals securely lock themselves within the room to preserve their lives. They found themselves utterly bewildered about their subsequent course of action. Their nerves were severely frayed, yet Cahill summoned some courage and swiftly activated the radio. Ultimately, the radio functioned, and they hurriedly recorded their urgent message. They succeeded in transmitting a message indicating they were trapped and in dire need of assistance. However, before any response could be received, the radio malfunctioned once more, and all their hopes were utterly shattered. Remaining there was unwise. Whether the rescue team would arrive to save them or not, they were completely uncertain. One of them then proposed that they should vacate the premises and, as they cautiously step outside, events do not unfold as anticipated. The most perilous crocodile, the very one from the school with a distinctive black mark upon his face, instantly brings to Kyle's mind the cautionary tale about the man with the black mark on his face, advising to keep a safe distance from him. Gazing into its eyes, it was gradually advancing. The companion of the injured friend suddenly comprehended why it was pursuing their friend. She retrieves crocodile eggs from her bag and places them in front of it, which were indeed its own eggs, but now it no longer desired the eggs. Alongside the eggs, grabbing his friend's hand in his mouth, he lifted it. Waving it in the air, she throws herself against the wall to save herself, and with what she found at that moment, she attacks the crocodile. The attack does nothing to the crocodile, but it becomes even more enraged. It starts moving towards the injured person to attack them, while the 3 people take advantage of the situation and try to escape, and the boy also carries away the injured friend of Cahill. Now, the crocodile turns towards Cahill to attack her. However, Cahill cleverly, with active mind, approaches nearby. How many things did they take? She attacks the crocodile's eye, causing it to writhe in pain, giving her the opportunity to escape. The injured person was extremely angry. All the people who had come with him had died, and the grief drove her even more insane. Her regret had increased. She couldn't save her brother before, and now not her companions, which in her anger, she sets the cabin on fire, causing the crocodiles to start dying and burning. Finally, they managed to get out of there, but the danger wasn't over. They were unaware that apart from that building, there were many more crocodiles around. Was it not? However, eventually, fortune smiled upon them, and they noticed a helicopter drawing near, as the distress message they had dispatched for assistance had been received, and their whereabouts had been pinpointed from that communication. Ultimately, the quartet is rescued, and we are presented with a scene set several weeks subsequent to the ordeal. Ka was in a significantly improved state than previously. She had regained her composure. She had traveled on a different airline today to disperse her brother's ashes, and on this day, she was entirely by herself. In the post-credit sequence, we are shown the same Bayou island once more. But we see the pilot alive inside the same building where the crocodile had attacked. They remarks at the crocodile's attack on his face, and his body looks strange. With this mystery, the movie ends here.